So you're thinking about moving to Newton, Massachusetts? Well, welcome to the club, as it's a very popular destination for relocating families. In the last video I made about Newton, I talked about West Newton and Chestnut Hill, which are two of the 13 villages that make up the city of Newton. In this video, I'll be highlighting Newton Corner and Newton Center. And stick around till the end, as I'm going to share some celebrities that hail from Newton, Massachusetts. I'm Jane. Welcome to my channel, Living in the Boston Burbs with Jane. My channel is all about what it's like to relocate and buy real estate here in the Boston area. So please subscribe to stay updated. And if you're thinking about moving here, please reach out, as I would love to help you. So let's dive in. First, we're going to talk about Newton Center. So Newton Center is the largest, biggest town center of all of the villages. There's great restaurants, there's lots of fun places to shop, and there's the cutest little train station that will whisk you into Boston. Newton is very close to Boston, so if you're looking for a short commute, that is why a lot of people consider it as location. And it also has outstanding public schools. Newton Center is in the middle of Newton proper. You have Route 9 to the south, you have the Mass Turnpike to the north, and so it's very easy whether you're commuting by car or by train or T. A couple of my favorite places in Newton Center include the best donuts. There's a Boston-based donut company called Blackbird Donuts, and they have a location in Newton Center. And there's a fabulous Irish pub, which is a great place to grab a beer, have a casual dinner, and they always have fun things going on. Last time I was there, they were asking you to sign up to do yoga with goats that they do either right outside the restaurant or somewhere nearby, but that's called Bar More. Really cute restaurant, so check that out. The city of Newton has outstanding public schools that are always rated in the top 20 of the best high schools in Greater Boston. There's two high schools. There's Newton North and Newton South, which are roughly divided by Route 9, which is a 4-lane highway that cuts right through Newton from east to west. And Newton North is a much newer building that's a fantastic facility and a little bit bigger than Newton South, but both are excellent options for education. And the nice thing about going to one of our larger suburbs is that there's a lot of great electives at these schools and things that you might not find, like as many languages, for example, in some of the smaller suburbs around Greater Boston. Newton is known as a green city, and there is lots of green space, walking trails. There's a gorgeous lake called Crystal Lake, which has 24 acres of land, which is a place you can swim with a bathhouse. So there's lots of options for recreation, dog walking, kid walking, mom walking, and this might sound a little strange, but there's a beautiful cemetery in Arboretum, which is another great place to birdwatch and walk. So what can you expect for real estate? In Newton, the cool thing about our real estate is you have everything from a Victorian style homes to Tudor style homes, which I'll show you what a Tudor is in case you aren't familiar, to super contemporary. Prices are high. You are paying a premium for the short commute to Boston and the excellent public schools. So let me share a couple of listings with you to see what you can expect in Newton. It's November 2023, so we're looking at some recent sales, basically the summer of 2023, which was a super hot time for real estate generally, and Newton was no exception. This listing that I'm going to share with you went $200,000 over asking. It was listed for $1,450 and it has about 2,600 square feet. And this is a Tudor style home. So Tudors were built, it was after the Victorian era, lots of brick. And you'll see these interesting, intricate detail around the doors and windows. And this window style is very typical of a Tudor. You see a lot of these detached garages in Newton because we have very small lots and some funky lots, and they would literally just tuck a garage anywhere they could. Now, in Tudors, a lot of times inside, you'll see a lot of dark moldings. So this house has all been painted white, and it looks like these might be some original windows, these pane style windows, but some of them have been replaced. But this white trim makes it light and bright and appealing. And I really do love this detail around the doorway. And also, it's fun to see these super contemporary contemporary decor. So I'm going to bet this house was staged, so it really shows up off the bones to its advantage. So here's a kitchen that was probably updated in the last 20 years. So for $1,650, you're getting a perfectly fine kitchen with stainless appliances, but not recently updated, which I can tell from looking at the tile floor and countertops. And this has a cute little yard, little bit of green space. And this is a nice updated bath, which you can tell from the cool stacked tile and a newer soaking tub. And again, this is an example of the nice detail you'll get in a Tudor. There's a wrought iron railing that has been painted white, which is probably original. This dome chandelier space, and then just this pretty window. Again, in Newton, you'll see people really do embrace these older homes, brimming with character, and it's very typical of a Newton home. Another house I'm going to share with you is this beautiful Victorian, which is on a main street, or actually it's a little cut through street in the middle of the hubbub of Newton Center. So convenient to elementary school and a playground, and actually pretty close to the gates of Boston College, which is a Catholic college, which is located actually in Newton, even though it's called Boston College. Part of the campus is in Boston. And so you get a nice student vibe, but of course that comes with a mixed bag of sometimes you get co-eds walking around your streets at night. But Homer Street is a little bit away, so that wouldn't happen with this particular house. But again, I thought the Victorian detail is just terrific. I loved these stained glass windows, which are original. And again, super updated decor, which is really fun. In a Victorian, you're always going to get very tall ceilings, hardwood floors throughout, more stained glass, and these windows on a diagonal, and a pretty updated kitchen which has hardwood floors. And this is a little more updated than the last home we looked at. This sold for almost $2 million, and it's 5 bedrooms and 2.5 baths, and it's just 2,792 square feet. So you are paying over $700 a square foot. A lot of times buyers will be relocating to Boston and know about Newton, and then they see what they can get, what their dollar will get them for space, and they say, maybe we'll move a little further west. But Newton is certainly a great option. So now we're going to take a ride down to Newton Corner, which is a very different vibe from Newton Center. So the Mass Turnpike cuts through the upper part of Newton Corner. So some of the neighborhoods have very close proximity to the Mass Pike, as we call it here. So there are some beautiful streets that are quiet, but there's also some that you're going to hear some noise, or you're going to get traffic of people coming on and off the Newton Corner, which is right by where you see this 4 Points Sheridan on the map. It's actually about terrifying Boston driver experience where you get off this rotary that takes you to different sides of Newton. And when my kids rode in high school, they actually had to carpool there and go that way to get to the Charles to go rowing. So there's nothing more terrifying than having your 17-year-old new driver get on this rotary and find out what it's really like to live in Boston. But don't worry, I can give you some tips when you move here. So anyway, Newton Corner also has a beautiful public golf course. So again, you always have this mix of a little bit of urban and a little bit of green space and a lot of convenience. For example, there's a major grocery stores in this area, and there are a couple quiet streets that have some cute little shops, but not the shopping metropolis that you'll find in Newton Center. There's a really cute museum that I would encourage you to check out called the Durant Kenrick House, which was built in the 1730s and by one of the fathers of the American Revolution. So now it's an interactive museum, which is a great place to take your children to learn about colonial life. And now I'm going to show you one listing that I think gives you a good sense of what your dollar will get you in Newton. Here we are at 74 Elmhurst Road, which is another Victorian, but this is so quintessential Newton Corner. So as you can see, it's this adorable blue Victorian style home, and it is on a lot that is just over 5,000 square feet, and the house is about 2,800 square feet and change. And it was on for $1,529, and it sold right at the asking price. It has a little plaque so you can get credit for having a true Victorian. And I love these Victorians, but it has a nice updated kitchen, which is an eat-in kitchen and has lots of beautiful green space behind the house. You get a peek at that. And a mudroom pantry. And actually you have a nice built-in fridge there. Big dining room, which in the front of the house, and then it's open to this family room. And I love the tile detail on this wood-burning stove. which has a nice mantle. That is just so cool. And typical of the Victorian era, you're going to get nice hardwood floors. You'll notice that this house is forced air and has these old wrought iron covers on the grates. And you get this nice detail on the windows. And again, very typical turned staircase with a nice balustrade, and these little corners are called on the banister. And here's a little window seat, which is just a cute little place to sit and take off your boots. So as you come up the stair, you can see another landing, and then it's going to take you up to the 3rd floor of that little tower that you might have noticed on the outside of the house. Nice big bedroom, so good sized closets. One of the tough things about Victorians is a lot of times everyone had 2 articles of clothing, so you don't get a lot of good closets. But this one, obviously, they've adapted and added some closets. And this bedroom has a little enclosed porch off it. So in Victorian times, you would very often see 2nd floor porches, which were called sleeping porches. Because they didn't have air conditioning and it was so hot in the summer, these would typically be screened and people would sleep out there. So as over time, most people have enclosed them, and then you can use them as like an extra playroom or an office or a nursery, or I've even seen them used as a little greenhouse. This is a kind of a pretty inlaid floor too, which is unique. And again, the doors, you get these beautiful 6-panel doors with crystal hardware and crystal knobs and brass hardware. You just don't find that in new construction. And here's a better view of the sleeping porch, because you can see that this was definitely the outside of the house, because it's got shingles and a porch style roof, and lots of gorgeous windows. So really cool. Now here we are on the 3rd floor, where you can tell from the slanted ceilings, and this is really clever. They've put in a little built-in bed with drawers and have just a little space to store your clothes and play, and another bath up on the 3rd floor. And also on the 3rd floor, they have this nice sitting room, which they turned into a bedroom. So high on charm. So I hope that information about Newton Center and Newton Corner was helpful to you. And as promised, here are 2 funny people that hail from Newton. Did you know that both Joe Rogan and Amy Poehler grew up in Newton, Massachusetts? So remember to subscribe, and I'll share some more celebrity news next time when I feature Newton Upper Falls, Newton Lower Falls, and Newton Highlands. Thanks for watching.